In the 5 years since George Floyd was murdered, there's been a violent clash for DEI. A clash that on paper, some might assume the modern day version of the moral majority has won. Internationally, we are seeing this concept of DEI being castigated, weaponized, and quite frankly vilified. Those three letters, DEI, are now the bullseye for funding cuts, policy pressures, and legal wrangling. If you just read the headlines of the day, they could demotivate any advocate, any beneficiary, or any supporter of basic human decency. Basic human decency. Notice I didn't say DEI. However, if you, like me, believe that the underestimated cohorts of people still deserve to be supported and empowered to succeed, then please listen on. Or for reading this, please read on. Because beneath the clouds and away from the rain and far from the thunder, far from the rage against DEI, there really is a different story to be told. A different story that's being written as I speak. Specifically, the script that is being authored by dozens and dozens of what I want to call capital B Black community organizations. These organizations that have emerged, or quite frankly, were turbocharged from the fiery global protests after George Floyd's brutal demise. For every major corporation that pledged to change, that pledged to improve its treatment of its Black associates, team members, employees, of its Black customers, consumers, stakeholders, suppliers. For every one of those organizations, a similar number of new Black-led organizations emerged. But unlike all those corporate bandwagoners who quite frankly have fled from DEI as if chased by ghosts of their own past, these community organizations in many instances are remaining strong, standing true, continuing to fight, and quite frankly, thriving. Who are these organizations that I'm talking about? Well, in Canada, we've got many of them. Advance, which is Canada's Black Music Collective. The Black Opportunity Fund, which is generating capital for Black entrepreneurs, social enterprises, and impact makers. The Black Founders Network, similarly highly focused on the value and benefits to the Black community and to Black leaders of entrepreneurship, self-determination, being paid for what you're worth. The Black Talent Initiative, which I'm a co-founder of, focused on Black leaders from 8 to 88, 8 to 108, all Black leaders. The Foundation for Black Communities, which has been tasked to deploy capital to organizations in the community across the country, who literally last year, while giving out $9 million, that was a far cry from the $150 million worth of applications they received. Because the reality of life in Canada, the reality of the philanthropic infrastructure we currently have, is less than 1% of philanthropy goes to Black-led organizations in this country. The Tribe Network, again fueling entrepreneurship, self-determination, and growth. The Afro-Canadian Contractors Association, Accelerate Auto. We've got industry-specific organizations that are helping Black members, Black employees, Black leaders, Black stakeholders. In Canada, there is not one car dealership owned by a black person. The Lady Ballers Camp, the NIA Center for Arts, Braids for AIDS, Parting the Roots, the Accomplice Project. I could go on and on and on. Whether it's the integration of sport and physical activity, self-determination, community building, and leadership, whether it's providing a physical venue to showcase black talent, creativity, majesty, or there be organizations that understand that certain diseases impact the black community much more than others, or the simple reality that for all the time, the relationship between black people and their hair is not only one of pride, but one of trouble. Not only one of glory and celebration, but one of trepidation. How do I wear my hair today? The other week, I had a community meetup commemorating, if you will, recognizing is probably a better term, the 5th year since George Floyd was murdered. And in that meetup, we reflected, many of us were early volunteers in the Black Talent Initiative, and we wanted to understand the powerful statement that because of George Floyd's murder, because of really his martyrdom, there are so many community groups such as the BTI that were created. And one of our volunteers talked about how by finding the BTI in that time of need, she was able to begin to live her life as a capital B black person. A capital B black person. And I thoroughly believe the capital B will endure because groups like the one we started, groups like the ones you have started and participate in, all the other groups that are too numerous to list, are creating power structures that will outlast the enemies of DEI. There are multiple power structures, of which I want to talk about 3 that I firmly am convinced are the foundations, the footing, the core to outlasting DEI. Why will capital B outlast DEI? Well, first and foremost, the power of community. In fact, I should say it's the superpower of any social movement, of any brand, of a religion, a political party, a nation state. When people bond over a common purpose and values, when people meet new collaborators and partners, when people are able to work alongside individuals with shared challenges, when people can find comfort in building friendships when you're working together against something as powerful as centuries and decades, years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, and seconds of racism. Although my hypothesis around the superpower of community is unscientific, I believe that there are incredible benefits to building your network, to building your relationships, to building your tribe. And that's why I really think community building isn't just fabric, but it's a fabric made of steel. The murder of George Floyd has permanently motivated capital B black people to build community among black people. Secondly is this power of belonging. The emergence of black resource groups in the workplace, their continued evolution and growth, has given people in their workplace a voice to express their feelings and sentiments to leadership, an opportunity to build incredible connections internally, and an opportunity to champion rising talent, engage with stakeholders in a new light. There's ample evidence that ERG participation builds power for black people working their way up through the corporate ranks, builds opportunity, creates bridges. I might editorialize and add that in addition to the power of belonging, Black employee resource groups, all employee resource groups for that matter, give people a feeling that they do matter, that they do contribute to the organization. Because often these resource groups provide a window to understand your role in the business. Thirdly, I believe that these groups are building a foundation around the power of entrepreneurship. Working for yourself is not merely a financial accelerator, not merely an income generator, not merely a self-management developer, and not merely an opportunity to scratch that itch that bothers you. But Black people becoming entrepreneurs, meeting other entrepreneurs, seeing entrepreneurs that have been out on their own for many years, provides a powerful role modeling. In the last 5 years, Black people across Canada have really been able to unlock their desire for self-control through collaboration, through funding, through sponsorship, and empowerment. Meeting other Black entrepreneurs, finding funding sources, having doors open to new customers are all part of what entrepreneurs have gained from being involved with the many, many Black-led community groups of today. I'm going to say this. This list is far from exhaustive. The pillars are by no means exclusive. If you cross-pollinate community and belonging, entrepreneurship, mattering against developing Black leaders, you will see that this impacts all facets of Black life in Canada and hopefully provides motivation and assurances for those feeling exhausted by the attack on DEI, for those who feel that hope is potentially lost. If you think about all these community groups, they have survived 5 years. We have a 5-year track record of success. If you have small businesses and enterprises that make it past the first 2 years, you know they're going to be much more successful. So we have a 5-year cycle of innovation. We have 5 years of calluses on our hands. And while there's more work to be done, there are many, many rewards that come with it and going to be worth it. The first enslaved people came to this country of Canada almost 400 years ago. So let's be realistic, yet celebratory. What has happened in the last 5 years is about 1% of our Canadian history. We've gone a lot further. We've gone much further than just 1% in progress. So if you're concerned, losing sleep, being distracted by this assault on DEI, I share with you this message today. Capital B will outlast, is more resilient, and is more powerful than those 3 letters, DEI.